Hello, sir.
What's going on?
Now we're live. Before we went live, we were talking about people that don't pronounce their L's.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody out there actually ever ran into somebody who doesn't pronounce their L's, but they say things like ball, board. They can't say bald. They say board, board.
You think that's more of a New York thing or a New Jersey thing?
No, I think it's a speech impediment because the worst is when you can't pronounce your R's. I dated this girl when I was in my 20s. She was deaf in one ear, and she couldn't pronounce her R's. And here was the funny part. She was from Jersey, and she worked at Great Adventure.
Oh.
Yeah, she worked at Great Adventure, and she asked me if I liked roller coasters.
Really?
I swear to God.
How old is she?
My 20s. I don't know how she was. Like in an administrative role in Great Adventure.
Maybe you have to stay out of the special needs dating app.
Yeah, listen, I gotta go where I
I
get
don't
them.
know if it's so much of a speech impediment. I think you're just you're jumping in the low end of the pool.
So yeah, that's why I had to go down low on the spectrum. Well, I don't know if I ever told you this story before. I'll tell you this. When I was this was when I was single. So there used to be this girl that I used to talk to in the gym when I was living on Staten Island. Like, what the hell was her name? I want to say her name was Tara, but I might be wrong. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. And she always wore a hat. She always wore a hat or a bandana and a hat, which is pretty common when you're in the gym. Like a lot of girls wear hats and they pull their hair through the back or whatever. Yeah. A lot of girls wear bandanas. So I would talk to her and everything. And finally, after about maybe a month and a half of like talking to her, I was like, well, would you like to hang out? Maybe get something to drink, go out sometime? And she's like, oh, I have a boyfriend. So I'm like, by that point, it was like in my late 20s. By that point, I was like, used to getting shot down. So I said, oh, don't worry, he won't get jealous. I said something like that or whatever. So whatever. All right. No big deal. Not the first time I got shot down. Right. So fast forward about 2 weeks. I'm talking to the manager behind the counter of the gym. I want to say the gym's name was Synergy. It turned out the gym was like all mobbed up after I found that, after I left there.
Synergy in Staten Island?
In Staten Island, yeah. The owner was
a few of them, right?
Yeah, there was a few of them. But anyway, yeah, the owner got arrested. But anyway, so I'm talking to the manager, and I was like, oh, and she comes in. That's what happened. She comes in, and she goes, hi, John. I was like, hey, Tara, how you doing? And the manager goes, I feel so bad for that girl. And I was like, why do you feel bad for that girl? And he goes, oh, she has alopecia. And that was the first time I ever heard of alopecia. I never knew what alopecia was. Right. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, she doesn't have any hair. She can't grow hair. That's why she has a hat and a bandana all the time. And he goes, if you look close, she doesn't have eyebrows. But every girl draws their eyebrows on. Like, I don't fucking, right? So,
especially in Staten Island.
What's up?
Especially in Staten Island.
Yeah, right. So I didn't really, I was like, really? So my first thought, and this happened like this. My first thought was that poor girl. My second thought was, wow, I got shot down by a bald-headed, like Jesus Christ, man.
Well, like dude, what? She's still, she's still
like,
she's got alopecia.
Like, yeah, but her standard should be really low. I mean, so I told my friend at work what happened, right? And my friend goes, my God, John, how far down on the fucking scale do you have to go to get laid? He goes, what are you going to go after amputees now? And he put his arm behind his back and he's like, you can't handle all this. Anyway, I bet you never got shot down by a fucking girl with alopecia before.
Not that I can remember now.
No. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about GH.
Growth hormone.
Yes. So, why don't you just go into it a little bit as to what it is, when it became popular in bodybuilding, what it does, and I'll just ask you some backup questions since you are the expert.
So growth hormone is an IGF secretagogue. It's nowadays it's synthetic. It's a 191 amino acid chain, which is designed, when it was first developed, it was designed for people with dwarfism or, hypogonadism, lack of bone growth. They would give it to, people who had trouble developing in height, right?
Mhm.
And would stimulate their systems. They would take it at a young age if the doctor sensed that, they were going to be, vertically impaired, for lack of a better term.
Vertically impaired. Okay. Short, really short.
So, it was utilized for that. And before that, it was actually taken off of human cadavers, or they took it from monkey brain, Reese's monkey brains they took them from, and
Yeah,
they
I've
would
heard that.
secrete the growth hormone. And this was the live version, the natural version of growth hormone. But there became too many side effects with them. People would get overdeveloped bones, not just in height, but their knuckles would grow, their jaws would grow. So through the years, they systematically came up with a synthetic version as technology and the science became more and more developed, and they were able to target it. But, it also, they started seeing other benefits from taking this, anti-aging type properties. They would give it to people who, burn victims, AIDS patients, people with wasting disease, people that had trouble keeping their system going, or just people with lack of IGF production. So with that being said, athletes, found a way to utilize this for performance enhancement, and then it kind of started like kind of being shuffled over to, the Hollywood industry, where doctors saw a benefit for people to utilize this for slows down the aging process and keeps your skin looking youthful and regenerated, keeps your body invigorated. Right? Yeah, you look
Right.
good.
That's
It's
why I'm
working.
handsome.
It's
That's
working.
why I'm handsome.
But it is a dynamic drug. It's a great drug. It does help speed up cell recovery and cell growth, cellular growth. The side link is, they were noticing people who utilize this that didn't have cancer screenings, that cancer cells. Now, again, it doesn't give you cancer, but if you have accelerated cancer growth, it'll accelerate it even faster.
Yes, I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So anybody looking to take growth hormone or IGF or any type of growth hormone, secretagogue or peptide, make sure you have a screening. Make sure you're cancer free.
yeah.
If you've ever had cancer, I wouldn't recommend taking it.
Right. Yeah. If you're in remission, don't take it.
Yeah, or even if you're not and you don't think you have cancer, this is something you really should pay attention to.
Absolutely. All right. So before you kind of jumped ahead a little bit, I wanted to explain exactly what it is and where it comes from. So I looked it up because I'm not as smart as Jason. So I looked it up, and it is a natural occurring peptide hormone produced in the pituitary gland, which is vital for growth, cell production, and regeneration in humans. Its primary role in childhood is to stimulate bone and tissue growth. After puberty, once the growth plates have fused, HGH no longer makes a person taller, but helps maintain body structure. It helps with metabolism in both children and adults. The body uses food for energy by boosting metabolism, building proteins, and breaking down fats. And HGH helps build, repair, and maintain the tissues of organs, as well as build strong and healthy bones and muscle mass throughout life. So it's actually funny, because I think if you have the reverse, right? If those plates do not fuse, then you become Andre the Giant. Is that accurate?
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, because the GH just keeps producing.
Andre the Giant suffered from giantism, they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
And when those bones never actually hardened, the white platelets or the white part of the bone never hardens, and they just continue to grow. But to add on top of that, that's actually a great definition. That's a textbook definition of what you just
Yeah.
said. But on top of that, they started noticing that growth hormone also helped regenerate all of your anabolic hormones and all of your living organisms. So skin, pituitary, thyroid, it keeps your testosterone active, keeps your pancreas working. So they would notice that when people use growth hormone with other substances, it was a little harder to shut down like your thyroid if you're taking growth hormone. It was a little harder for your natural test level to drop off completely for taking anabolics with growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
Growth hormone. So it does have a very good synergistic effect in keeping your body in a state of homeostasis on top of accelerating the IGF levels.
Okay. We could actually pinpoint the era in bodybuilding where bodybuilders started using growth, because you could actually see a difference in the physiques. And it was, I would say, probably maybe the mid 90s with the Dorian Yates era was rushed in, because you could kind of see a tremendous difference from the 80s into the early 90s and then into the mid to the late 90s. The physiques were tenfold. It made a huge progress. And from what I understand, that was due mainly to synthetic growth hormone. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, it was used in the Arnold days, but they would use from cadavers, and
Really?
they started noticing that people were developing viruses and infections, and they would take on traits that whatever that cadaver had before them, it would theoretically get passed on to them. So people were a little reluctant to use it, and I get it. I wouldn't fucking want to use that either.
How did they actually get before it became, synthesized? How did they actually get it from rhesus monkeys or human beings and the pituitary gland?
They would extract it from the pituitary.
Was it legal to do that?
Oh yeah, this was all done in science. Yeah, it wasn't, look, you got to realize it wasn't done so they could sell it to bodybuilders on the streets.
Right.
This had a purpose. This had a medical purpose.
I would love to know who was the person that said, you know what? I bet you this would be good for bodybuilding.
Well, they would notice, shorter people or dwarfs or midgets at that time was the term, to be politically incorrect, whatever.
Yeah.
Their pituitary was lacking. It wasn't releasing IGF. It wasn't, releasing growth hormone. So if you're lacking something, just like with people who don't have a thyroid, you take a thyroid medication. So if people who have low testosterone, you take testosterone. So if you have low IGF levels naturally, they're going to give you something to stimulate that pituitary. And no better version than the real form.
Before we go on, I just want to acknowledge Robert Gabriel. He sent us a really nice, some nice words here. He says, "I am a huge fan of the channel, a huge fan of Jason for years now. Being from New York, we've been looking up to Jason for a long time now. Just wanted to say thank you for doing." And here's the next part. These podcasts, it means a lot to all of us. Stay strong and God bless you both, Rob.
Oh, thank you, Rob. Very well, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, that means a lot to me, Rob, because believe me, there are times where sometimes I say to myself, why am I doing this? I say to myself, subscriptions are, it's slow. The views are slow. It's not going up, or it's going up very slow. The money's not coming in.
I only draw so much.
What happened?
I only draw so much.
Yeah. But when I hear people like you comment and these really nice comments, it really means a lot, and it actually makes me keep going, and it makes me keep driving Jason Arntz crazy onto what topic we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah,
so
people don't realize you call me 7 times a day. I have to hear from you 7 times. You give me Sundays off. I get 6 days of John harassing.
almost 7 times a day. Almost. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 8, but it averages about 7. Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right. So, growth hormone. Okay, so we can actually see when it became synthesized and when it became very popular and so on and so forth. I've been using growth hormone for about 1.5 years. I took a little break off for about 6 weeks, and I do see a huge difference. Now, I have to say, though, the side effects are, for me, has been slim to none. I've seen the side effects like getting a little sleepier, a little tightness and cramping in the lower back, I've never got the tightness or cramping in my hand, but I also keep it at a very moderate dose. I do not do high levels of growth hormone. I stick between 3 and 4 units a day. But I do see a difference in my skin, my muscle maturity, the way my muscle looks, the hardness and graininess of the muscle, and so on and so forth. Obviously not to the scale of great bodybuilders like yourself or Dorian or so on and so forth. But I'm talking for the average human being that goes to the gym. And it does make a huge difference. The thing is, though, it seems like it takes a very long time. With a moderate dose, it seems like it takes a good 6-8 months before you actually look in the mirror and say, oh, wow, okay, now I see a difference. And that could be a little bit, what do you want to say? Disappointing for a few, especially for people that jump on, a regular steroid cycle and it's like getting hit by a ton of bricks in 3 to 4 weeks.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, really? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, so, I think growth hormone is probably one of the better drugs that's on the market that's available, for athletes and people who anti-aging people.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed. Yeah.
But, and you don't even need a big dose, 2 IUs a day, one for women, 2 for men. That's a good dose for anybody looking to stay healthy. But when I first started taking growth hormone, I noticed it overnight.
Really?
And I noticed it every morning. I would wake up and I was leaner and drier and harder. It was a different look, a more mature look. It's not what I meant. Stop it. Fucking kids. So, the thing about growth hormone, it's not like anabolics where you need to taper on and taper off. The longer you're on growth hormone, the better it works, the more it works.
Maybe that's what, okay.
That's why you might
that
see more,
makes sense.
Maybe if you're not taking enough of it, right? Then you won't see real money. I mean, it's not something that you're going to take and you're going to put on 20 pounds of muscle like a cycle of Anadrol, or
right.
Or Sustamon with Debol. It's not like that. But
so that might be what I've noticed. That it's just a very slow, gradual. Though, like you said, the longer you're on it, the better the benefits are. So that might be what I've been noticing. Okay.
As long as the host is clean, and when I mean the host, I mean as long as your system's clean, no viruses, nothing, no pre-screening of cancer, you will continue to see results the longer you're on it. And all you're really doing is elevating your IGF levels. It's not like, and look, at a certain age, you're just not producing it anyway. So you don't have to worry about really shutting down.
Right.
Because after you're like your late 20s, 30s, you're just not producing IGF anymore. So there are much more health benefits. That's why they call it going to the fountain of youth for people who are in their 40s. Or that's why it really kicked in really the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, and it has a healing effect too, I've noticed.
Oh, it does all that, dude. It keeps your body really in sync and helps rejuvenate all your living organisms. It's a great drug. It's actually not even, well, it's classified as a drug, but it's really a peptide. It's amino acid peptide.
Yeah. So I've been using 3 to 4 units a day. You think that is sufficient, or you think that's too much?
So no, that's good, dude. I mean, and I think when I started with 4 IUs a day, and I noticed muscle gain, and when I would diet down, like I wouldn't lose it, my weight wouldn't change, all the way up to the show.
I also think that there have, I know people, I truly believe this, right? Because I've seen it with my own eyes. I think people that are genetically gifted like you, one of the genetic gifts is how they react to things like growth hormone and testosterone. Because I've also seen people that are taking all types of stuff, and I don't see much of a change, And then I see somebody like, like when Lee Priest says,
to be honest, like, and I'll probably take a lot of shit for this. There's no way, okay? There's just no way that people are taking the doses that they're taking and they're getting real stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff is so widespread.
Yeah.
That everybody makes it. It's like these peptide companies, dude. They're everywhere you turn.
Yeah.
And 99% of them are shit raw ingredients.
Yeah.
And it's the same companies now that are making the IGF and the growth hormones and this. It's like and that's why Lee, when he talks, like he took a couple of IUs a day and he barely used it because when
unbelievable.
you take this was pharmaceutical grade growth hormone. And you don't need a lot of it. And there's guys that used a lot of it. And I think at one time I used up to 8 IUs a day. I know guys that are doing 16 IUs. There's no way that shit's real.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
And there's or maybe I'm exaggerating when I say I don't see much. I don't see a huge increase. I mean, obviously they look better, they feel better, but they don't become, elite bodybuilders is what I'm saying. But no, when Lee says he's only taking 400 milligrams of testosterone, I believe that, because I truly believe that there is a genetic proportion to guys like yourself, like Lee, like Ronnie Coleman, down the list of elite bodybuilders that take this stuff and react much better than guys like just the average person,
Well, you have guys like Herschel Walker, and this goes to your statement right there. There's guys like Herschel Walker that never touched a weight, dude. He did push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups, and he looked bigger than most bodybuilders at that time.
Yeah.
People have a genetic predisposition to either put muscle on or not. There's different body types. There's people that could walk around a squat rack and their legs are going to get bigger. And there's guys that squat 4 plates and they look like there ain't nothing
all the time. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So you make a valid point, by saying
obviously, everything else goes into it too, right? I mean, how hard you train.
The more genetically inclined you are, like a Lee, he could train strict and eat good and take minimal amounts of stuff, and he's going to react. Those are the guys that we're designed to do this stuff. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that have to go through the trials and tribulations before they realize, hey, I can only kind of hit this level. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hit this level. And sometimes it's fortunate enough just to get to this level. And there's people that only get to this level. I did an interview recently. I think it's the one I just posted on Instagram. And the guy asked me about bodybuilding. And, I took 4th in the Olympia and I didn't have it to win,
No, and I went through the same thing, only on a very, very smaller scale. I could win a local show. I could win an NPC show, no problem. But you put me in a national level show, and it's like, here's your ass, go home now. It just wasn't happening.
So we all have our ceilings of what we could reach. And there's guys that could push it a little bit further, but you have to have those genetics. And sometimes what's a little concerning is you have a guy who's not necessarily genetically inclined and he wins a show, but he wins a show because maybe there just wasn't enough top quality competition there.
Yeah, of course. Right.
Then they push it to a next level and it's like, and then they don't make a top 15 and it shatters their self-esteem and their ego. That's why you really got to take things and see where if you're competing, you really have to see where you fare, not just at one show, but at a couple different shows at that level before you jump to a national show. And there are those people that can do that. And there's other people, you peak at this show and then I'm going on to the universe. I'm going on to the nationals. And dude, you're not fucking ready for that shit, dude. Those guys are out.
Yeah. That was me. But no, don't worry about it. It was a great learning experience. It really was, because it was the truth. And I remember, I was doing the Brooklyn Grand Prix and I was there to win. I looked the best that I ever looked. It's the picture I use on our thumbnail. Okay. It was the best I ever looked.
On your passport. It's the picture you use on your passport.
Yeah. So, and then I remember going backstage, and the Brooklyn Grand Prix is like, I don't know if it still is, but it was right before maybe a month or so before the Nationals. So everybody's looking to qualify. The New York shows are a little bit tougher. And I remember this guy walked in, and I'll never forget, he had a Dan Marino jersey on. I don't know who the fuck he was. I have no idea. Okay. And I knew he was about an inch shorter than me. I'm about 5'8", so he was about 5'7", maybe 5'6". And I was weighing at 181, and he was 198 on the button, and he didn't even take his shirt off yet. And I went, oh fuck. there's no way I'm winning this. And then sure as shit, we get backstage. He takes his shirt off. He starts pumping up. And I'm like, I remember I said to the coach I had, there's this guy, Dom. I said, Dom, look. And he goes, maybe he's a heavyweight. I'm like, nah, he's not a heavyweight.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk about some of the side effects. Because of course, everybody wants to talk about the GH gut. Now, here's my opinion. I don't believe in the GH gut. I don't think there's a GH gut. I think that this is the GH gut is something that the majority of bodybuilders that really want to push the envelope get as far as eating so many calories and so on and so forth. Because when you see these guys that come off and they stop training and they stop pushing the envelope, they don't have, like, if you've seen Dave Palumbo's stomach, he literally could do a vacuum now. Jay Cutler, I mean, you go down the line.
Not when he was competing. Dave was known for
they literally coined the term Palumboism. But what's your take on it? Maybe I'm wrong, but you know science better than me.
Well, so if you're just your average guy looking to get in shape, maybe put on a little muscle, and you start taking some growth hormone, you're not going to get a GH gut. It is actually a thing. Okay. However, it's more of a thing when it's synergistically used with excessive amounts of anabolics and insulin, because it does help grow all your living organisms and organs too. Your stomach could grow, your intestines could grow. That's why we see more and more of it lately. And there was that age in the late 90s where guys started getting those distended stomachs. That's when people started stacking. They were already on the high amounts of testosterone with growth hormone at that time, but they had small stomachs. Then they started introducing insulin, and that's where it really, because with insulin, dude, you're eating more, it's more carbs. Those carbs get shuttled into your muscle cells, into your stomach, everything in your body.
It's all encompassing, basically.
Yeah. So
it's the eating plus the heavy GH, the heavy insulin use.
If you did a mild amount of TRT therapy with some growth hormone, 1 to 2 IUs a day, dude, you would look great.
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. Don't listen to me.
Oh, absolutely.
But you wouldn't have to worry about a distended stomach or growth hormone. That's, like I said, it's guys that were taking excessive amounts with excessive amounts of anabolics, and they're adding insulin to the mix too. So it's just that bad synergistic effect that would cause that.
Because it looks like the bodybuilders know that they get penalized for these distended stomachs, right? So it looks like since the early 2000s into like 2010s, give or take, it was really bad. And then the bodybuilders were getting marked down, and they knew that they had to control it. And for the most part, they have. You see a lot of open guts pulling vacuums now. But a lot of times you see the guys when they kind of like, maybe there's a picture or a video of them, or there's a picture taken when they do like a real lat spread or a real double bi, and they're able to just let their stomachs relax because they're not being looked at by the judges at that angle. And then somebody takes a picture and you can see the stomach distended.
You see it from the front. They're hitting a rear double bicep, but the picture's taken from the front. And
right.
They look like a turtle. Looks like a ninja turtle, right?
Yeah. And you still see it till this day. You still see that. So is it that they've just learned to control their midsection while they're on stage, or did they lower the dosage, or is it they're taking the same dosage and they're basically just learned to control the midsection?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I still see it. I still see it in some guys.
Yeah.
So we're at a stage now where I don't think anybody wants to let their foot off the gas, because competition has become so tough, and it's turned into who's the biggest guy now. So unless something happens that really gets people to realize, hey, like Andrew Jacked, cracking the top 3, excuse me, with Samson, making this run that he's had the past couple of years, it at least it's woken people up.
Right.
To this sense where, hey, these guys are getting rewarded,
yes. Yeah. Now they're getting right.
So now I'm thinking this might be a great opportunity for the sport to go into that direction where more guys are realizing, hey, dude, maybe we got to start backing this off a little bit. And look at Martin, So guys like that are now becoming, getting better placings, being rewarded
Yeah.
for having the small stomachs. And classic division has taken such a leap that it's a more desirable look. So I'm hoping that's where the open division is going, because
Oh, it looks like it is, obviously. Yeah, it looks like it.
nobody's ever going to argue. Nobody's ever going to argue that, hey, that guy with a small waist, it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but you're always going to hear, oh, his stomach was distended. He had bloating. He had this. He turned to the side and his stomach was sticking out, protruding. So you're always going to hear that. So nobody's going to argue otherwise by saying, oh, his stomach was too small. What people have to realize is when you have that smaller waist, it makes everything else look much bigger.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. But I think it's a combination of, I agree with you 100%. But I do think that you still have guys that do have I mean, Nick Walker, right? Like Nick Walker, everybody saw the picture of him from the side. But when he's on stage and he's transitioning and he's posing and you see him from the side or from the front, he basically has full control of his stomach. He doesn't let it hang until he turns to the back. And you can kind of let it get away with that because you're not looking at him from the front unless somebody snaps a pic like they did, right? I don't know. It's difficult to say. I don't know if they backed off the drug or if they just control it, or I think it's a combination of both. I honestly think they just control it a lot better because it wasn't penalized, 15 years ago, right? And then once people started saying, "Hey, that's a terrible look," then they started penalizing you, and the bodybuilders started like trying to improve it, whether it's they backed off the drugs, or they control it, or they do something different with their diet. But they certainly fixed the problem because, like you said, guys like Andrew Jack, Martin, Sampson, you go down the.
They've fixed it, but they've certainly addressed it.
Oh, 100%.
Arnold. Well, the thing is, they can only fix it so much. If guys still show up that way, they got to put them somewhere. And if 80% of people had distended stomachs, they're just going to put the better guy with a distended stomach up higher. But your guys with smaller stomachs, look at Tonio. Tonio.
Tonio is just, it looks like they fucking chisel him out of granite.
He's going to be like the modern day Dexter, So and people seeing that is going to make people realize, or even people coming up, hey, I'm going to keep my waist small. That's what they're rewarding. So it's good for the younger people coming up to see, especially guys like Martin and Andrew, Sampson, like you just said. It gives people something to, hey, this is the ideal look. This is what they're going for. This is what we're rewarding, and gives people a better idea of what to train to look for.
Now, I just want to go into one more topic. Growth hormone, excessive use of growth hormone, from what I understand, can lead to diabetes. Is that accurate?
So growth hormone, when abused, it can lower your insulin sensitivity. So your body doesn't. So when your body releases insulin, it doesn't push all the sugar into the cells as effectively. And that's just when you're on it. Okay. When you come off it, I haven't seen anything that suggests that it's permanent. But that's why we're using small amounts of insulin while they use growth hormone. But again, these are guys that are really using heavy doses of growth hormone.
Okay. All right. So when can you tell that your insulin levels have dropped? Is it,
Well, you would know on a blood test if your sugar level's high and you're using growth hormone A, and it's not like you're shutting your pancreas down. It's just your insulin sensitivity has, suffered a little bit.
Does the blood sugar go up or drop from using GH?
It'll go up because your body, isn't responding to your natural insulin release that it normally does.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Fasted blood sugar levels could be slightly elevated.
So when you break out in sweats and you might have some blurred vision or whatnot, is that a symptom of insulin dropping or going up?
Well, growth hormone is not going to do that to you.
Okay.
So that's usually what happens when your blood sugar becomes too low, when you're
that's okay.
hypoglycemic. when your
Right.
blood sugar is low, or you're hyperglycemic when your sugar level, when you're hypoglycemic, I'm sorry, your sugar level drops, you're low. When you're hypo, it's when your body doesn't release enough insulin, your sugar level is high, and those are usually signs of signaling of some type of a diabetes, type 2, or usually type 2.
Now, if your sugar level goes up, besides taking your blood and seeing it, are there any symptoms that you could see when the blood sugar goes too high?
Oh yeah, dude. You'll, just like you said, you could dizzy, lightheadedness, sluggish, lethargic, tired, numbness in your fingers. You know, like your
Okay.
blood, when your sugar level is too high, dude, your blood gets thick. You're
Ah,
a risk. You're a risk of clotting and stroke. Yeah, high sugar levels are not good.
okay. Okay. All right.
Now,
So,
I'm not saying high doses of growth hormone are going to put you in a pre-diabetic stage. It just could lower your insulin sensitivity.
I see. Okay.
But
Well,
I'm also not suggesting that it's not possible.
yeah. I mean, we're basically generalizing, right? And this is, obviously, if anybody is considering using it, go to a clinic, go to a doctor, and have your blood work checked and do it properly, obviously. But
Well, even if you are doing it that way, they're giving you dosage that's not a big concern.
that was my next question. So it's dose related. That is my next question. Yeah, that was my next question. Yeah, that's what I figured. Are there any other side effects from heavy GHUs besides the ones we just?
Oh yeah, dude, your jaw could, you get that masculine looking jaw, cheekbones could grow. I mean, actually, some of the features are more masculine. So some of the guys, oh, I like it. I took growth hormone and my jawline's more chiseled.
Mhm.
My skeletal structure is a little more, endowed.
Right.
Shoulders are wider. It has those effects to it. It could change. There's studies that say it could, you know, change your voice a little bit. Um, but other than that, no, it's relative. It's and again with prescribed doses.
Right.
It's considered a relatively safe drug.
Yeah, I've been using it for, like I said, about a year and a half. Um, and I get my blood work done regularly, and I have not seen any significant differences. I don't have any real negative side effects. Like at the beginning, I had like things that were uncomfortable, like heavy sleeps and
Yeah.
numbness in the tightness in my lower back. I've noticed
Okay.
the tightness in my lower back. That's like one of the ways I could tell that it's real. In the first week, I get this very tightness in and then for some reason, what's funny is that I don't even realize that that's one of the side effects. I go, God, why is my fucking back fucking bothering me so much? And then I go, I started growth this week.
We used to know if you were getting real growth because we get those carpal tunnel symptoms where your hands and fingers go numb, or you're grabbing the steering wheel and your hands are numb, or when you sleep, you wake up and your hands feel like they're falling asleep all the time.
Yeah, I've never gotten a numbness. I think that's because it's probably dose related, but I have had the tightness in my lower back.
Yeah.
And have you ever noticed that, the tightness in your lower back?
Not my lower back, but I definitely have the numbness in my hands.
Okay, because that's one thing that I've always noticed, the tightness in my lower back, but I never really got numbness in my hand. But I think, like I said, I think it's dose related. I never really went past 4 units. Like I said, I usually stay between 3 and 4 a day.
That's a relatively safe dose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. So how is I Prevail Subs doing?
Well, dude, we just got our fiber in today, so we're trying to hit the month strong. But new fiber product landed today. I had to get a bunch of orders out for some pre-orders, and some retailers are waiting for it. But 7 different sources of fiber: prebiotics, postbiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, soluble, insoluble fiber, and inulin. So it's great for gut health, good for digestive issues, digestive health, colon health, but it keeps your body regular. But it's one of these products that I've been using for years, and I've been wanting to do a fiber for a long time. And I saw like a space right now in the industry where it's
I
needed.
was about to say that. There is a huge, the only person that makes a decent fiber is Species.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
when I worked for another company, I'm not going to mention them. They had a fiber product, which I thought at the time was the best fiber I've ever seen. Used it. I sold a ton of it up in the Northeast, but I was educating people on it. All my retailers, I would let them know what this, and people would buy it because they believed what I said. And
yeah.
then they used it and they loved it and they would sell it. And so, but nobody else in the country was selling it. They didn't really believe in it the way I did. So after a while, the product was discontinued. I'm like, you know what, dude? When the time comes, I'm gonna launch a product like that. There's a couple things I thought I could make better, but it's as close to that formula as possible with a couple other tweaks and variations, which kind of heighten it a little more.
And when it's available, I will be making the switch from fiberlize to what's going to be the name of your fiber?
It's just fiber. It's I Prevail. Hold on, I got a bottle right here. Give me a second.
All right. And if you want to check out Jason's supplement line, it's www.i-prevailsups.com. It's in the description, and the discount code is in the description as well, SNS10. There it is. It's just, okay, that's pretty simple. All right, I Prevail Fiber. I'm going to be making the switch once that's readily available.
And there's 3 flavors. There's a natural flavor you could mix with your shakes.
Oh,
there's a watermelon kiwi if you want to take it as a standalone, and an orange mango. But the flavor is great. The natural, no dyes, no artificial colors, no artificial flavorings in the natural one. But in the orange mango and the watermelon kiwi, there's a little bit of artificial sweetener in there.
Because fiber is one of those supplements that right away when it's working.
Once you start using it, you'll never stop using it.
I apologize. I keep looking over here, right? Because I don't know if you know this, but I have a fish tank, right?
You give them fiber?
No. But I made a mistake. I bought these what they refer to as cichlids, and some of them are aggressive. And I put a couple of different types of cichlids, and they fight. So, so really? So I have an Oscar and I have 2 Severums, and there's one Severum and there's one Oscar. Always got to go at it, and as they get bigger, I'm gonna have to give one away or bring it back because they literally lock jaws and they won't let go.
It's like the Bloods and the Crips in the yard.
And they tell you, don't do it, but like an idiot. Like, what could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah,
everything.
And they're not even close to full size yet. Like they're maybe that big, and they get to be like this. Anyway, Let me see if I could just quickly show you. You're not going to be able to see, but there's the tank.
Yeah, nice tank.
Right. So, anyway, I Prevail subs. Go and get it because believe me, they are probably the best quality supplements I've ever used, and definitely one of the best quality supplements on the market right now. Link in description is in the description, and the discount code is there. And Jason is a world of fantastic knowledge when it comes to bodybuilding, supplements, and anabolics, which is why I call him 7 times a day. Jay, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Anytime, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you later. What did you say?
I'll talk to you in an hour.
Yeah, I'll call you right after I'm done with this. Yeah. I'll see you later, bro.
All right, buddy.